So in this example, we have the following scenario. It says, hey, in a survey, the sample mean height of women in the United States is 64.2 inches. I'm gonna stop. Since you have a number, you need to identify that number. This number is X bar, is the sample mean. The mean of the sample mean is 64.2 inches. It also says, hey, the sample standard deviation is 2.9. This is another piece of information that is important for us. 2.9 inches, which is standard deviation. 2.9. When you're using your calculator or using your book or working on your homework, you might see it as S or S sub X. These are representing the standard deviation. Now it says, what percent of women height are in between 58.4 and 64.2 inches? Well, given that this is a normal distribution, we expect this to follow 68, 95, and 99.7 rule or empirical rule. What's the meaning of that? It means that, hey, if I graph this normal distribution, the mean of the data is centered in the middle. This is the mean, which is 64.2 inches. We expect 68% of all women in the United States have a height in between 64.2 plus one standard deviation, 2.9, and 64.2 minus 2.9. So we expect 68% of women in the United States have height in between, so let us do the calculation. 61.3 inches to 67.1 inches. And remember that the way that it was distributed, it was 34%, 34, and another 34. So if you add these together, you get 68%. 68% of all women in the United States, we expect to see a height between 61.3 inches and 67.1 inches. Then, based on the empirical rule, 95% of all women in the United States have height between, now you have 67.1 plus 2.9. And since we already did the calculation here, we don't want to use the same 64.2, 61.3 minus 2.9 inches. So just take a look at these two numbers. You need to identify these two numbers. We already have 64.2, so we should just stop on the right-hand side here. But I want to just show you how we get the rest of these numbers. So you have 0.1, 0.170, and here you have 58.4 inches. So we expect 95% of all women in the United States, 95% of all women in the United States have height between 58.4 and 70 inches. But the question says, hey, I want to know what percent of women have height between 58.4 and 64.2. They want to know, what is this percent? What is this percent in total? Well, we know that this part is 34%, and this part, this portion is 13.5%. So if I add these together, 34% plus 13.5%, I get 47.5%. 47.5% of all US women have height between 58.4 inches to 64.2 inches. That's how we apply this rule. These numbers, these percentages are already established by statisticians. So we're just using this information to have an educated percentage about the heights of women. How many percent of women in the United States have heights between 58.4 inches to 64.2 inches? And as you can see, you have 47.5%.